How do you experience tonic seizures? I became epileptic as a result of autoimmune encephalitis. I am currently on Keppra, 2,000 milligrams twice a day. Vimpat, 200 milligrams twice a day. Wait, Keppra, 2,000 milligrams twice a day, and Vimpat, 200 twice a day. And Lamictal, 150 twice a day. I also received 2 IVs of rituximab, RITUXIBXIMAB, 2 times a year. The ones that I have, and remember, I get really refluxy, feel quite disorientated. My hands and legs feel a bit shaky and have this strong deja vu feeling. When I feel that way, I sit in a chair, and if it is very uncomfortable, I just lay in the middle of the bed with pillows on both sides. There wasn't really a question in there, but it says it's a question. So we'll just say thoughts on that.
Yeah, what are your tonics like? Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I go all the way up to the rigidity. I can feel the one side going rigid. Yeah, yeah. I'm usually aware until that last minute when I'm
Yeah, I'm usually there until I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like I feel this, and sometimes I'm like, maybe it's not gonna happen because it doesn't always happen. But the times where I'm like, okay, I get this all the time, it's not gonna happen. Those are the times it happens. The times where I'm like, I need to pay attention so this doesn't happen. I'm sitting there for hours and it's not happening.
Right.
Hi, Twix.
I go unconscious way before I even go into a seizure. So it's like my wife didn't even notice it until a certain point. Oh, he's about to go. You know?
Yeah, the only time I have a perspective of like before a tonic is if somebody else is around and they notice, like I don't want to say more severe, but like they say the humming will get louder. Like I'll be doing something with my hands and my mouth before a tonic. And usually I just gauge it by the after effects. If it's just my tongue bleeding, then maybe it didn't last that long. If I'm sore, behind my knees and on my legs, then maybe it didn't last that long. But if it's, soreness on the whole body, if I'm bleeding from both cheeks and my tongue, then I just have to kind of go by the evidence to discern like what happened during a tonic.
Yeah.
I can never remember them. I can remember before sometimes, and then it'll just come to me during the days, little events that happen right before. But yeah, I don't exactly remember that day. I'm like really foggy, and then a few days later, I'm like, oh yeah, it was up till this point. And then I'm like, no, it was up till this point. I'm starting to remember more and more. But yeah, before it happens, I really haven't got to see my vibes yet because, like I said, the vibes I get sometimes is like it's going to happen, and it doesn't. And then I get those vibes to where it's going to happen, and I'm like, okay, it didn't happen last time. I'll be all right. And it happens. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyhow, someone said next steps, MTS, MRI. MRI came back with bilateral mesial temporal sclerosis a while back after the return of tonic-clonic and what sounds like they're assuming are focal seizures. After 13 years with nothing, seizures originally started as an infant. Since they've returned the MRI results, I've had radio silence from neurology department. No idea what the next steps are other than the very simple care plan of the GP stating to go up by 25 milligrams for both day and night doses of lamotrigine each time I have a seizure, which seems to be happening every 2 to 4 weeks at the moment, plus focals in between. The GP is not happy with this because she doesn't know at what point to add another medication. What dosage is safe for me to go up to? I'll probably need a rescue medication for my second seizure upon this returning was to go up to. She says I'll probably need a rescue medication again. A prolonged seizure can do so much, and I don't know how I can't explain it. I should have an epilepsy nurse appointment as a point of contact, which I have not had. Apparently, my next neurology appointment isn't for a year. Surely they should be thinking of an EEG or something like that. My GP says the neurology department at the local hospital are usually really good, and she doesn't know why they're not being more on it with me, and I'm just getting bounced back and forth. Or is this pretty normal? It's normal for these doctors.
Is she in Rochester? Yeah, is she in Rochester? That's what they do here. Yeah, it is normal. I mean, it took me, I was 7 years old when I had my first seizure. I was 46 when I finally got diagnosed. So yeah, it does. It happens a lot. They'll say it's something else, but she has some real seizures. It really sounds like she's got epilepsy that needs to be treated.
Yeah.
The best thing, I don't know if that's in our group, Fuki, or if that's in the other subreddit. I'll take a look, because many times, I don't know about you guys, but hospital clinics, you have to realize that those are full of interns and residents that are brand new. You can call them tadpoles. I'm Navy, so I call them tadpoles. They don't know what they're doing. I had one almost kill me in 2023. He almost overdosed me with impact in the hospital. So they don't. And I know some of the hospitals are excellent. Johns Hopkins, Duke, Reese here at Duke. But most hospitals, unless they've got a really, really good epileptologist, and their coding is F6. You need an F6 neurologist, not just I think it's a F2, whatever it is, but it's not an F6. It's a special coding for an epileptologist. And not every hospital clinic has those. And hospital clinics they're just hospital clinics. I've never had a good experience with them, with any of them. And I've been in 3 states and I don't know how many cities, so it's everything from Pennsylvania to New York and in between, literally. But I would say, the best thing we would all say, just find another doctor. Take that EEG, take everything she's got, give that new doctor access. But
I missed a sentence. One sentence I missed.
Hold on.
It says, do they just do MRIs and not call you back if everything is okay? I didn't read that last sentence. I have the My Health app, so I don't know if they just don't call you back when everything's okay. But
right.
I would think that's a red flag.
Yeah, my doctor usually calls me even though I have My Health.
Yeah, no, mine don't. They don't.
I'm not going to Rochester.
Never.
Not with epilepsy.
No, it's
they'll put it up on my chart or something. Let me know how my test came back up.
Yeah.
They'll explain it, and if it's something really bad, they'll call me right away. When my liver enzymes was really high, the nurse practitioner was the one that called me and was like, hurry up and get to this, this person and schedule an appointment because something's up.
I mean, even if
great.
a result are in my chart, besides them sending you an email and a text message telling you to look at it yourself, I would expect a phone call as, a decent follow-up.
Yeah,
But
I got
maybe that's
some
hard to
results
bill.
recently
Maybe
that
that's hard to get paid for, and that's why it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. I got some results that I got a message for the other day, but it was a whole lot that I just didn't understand, medical terms and numbers and all kinds of stuff. But it didn't say anything was wrong, so I got to look back at it and write everything down because it was all over the place. And like I said, there's a bunch of medical terms I didn't understand, but it didn't look like they said anything was wrong. It was just like, there's this, and this here, there's this there. And yeah, like I said, I didn't even look up what was going on. I was just like, this is a lot right now.
Yeah, when I have
I'm
a
so
like I don't
lucky.
know something medically, I have an RN friend, and I'm like, "What's this mean? And what's that mean?"
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm incredibly lucky, and I mean I know that I'm incredibly lucky, but I've got a great team. They did a special meeting with me with not all of my doctors, but many of my doctors from various places even. So my psychiatrist and my PCP and my neurologist and her what's the word for the nurse who works with her,
Medical
but
assistant.
all of them, even though they work in different places, like the neurologists work at St. Elizabeth's, and my PCP works at Atrius Health. Like they all came together from different places and had a meeting with me together. So yeah, they're amazing. They all came together and did that for me. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's too bad that's the exception.
Yeah,
It's definitely something that everybody should have. If you have comorbidities, get the team together and get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
But now patients have to be, especially epileptic patients, have to be more proactive for ourselves. And that's the vibe. That's what I've learned most from what Pookie started here, is that we have to be more of our own advocates than a lot of other disabled groups.
You know it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a few problems that I notice that these are my tiny problems. So like the fact that I have to deal with these small things means that I feel like other people must have to deal with so much more, because like my surgeon doesn't call me by my name because he doesn't look like it's on my chart, but it's, there's my legal name, and then the name I go by is like slightly farther down the chart, and he won't look slightly farther down the chart to see my name. And so like when he was at that meeting with all of my doctors, he actually called me by my name because everyone else did. But generally speaking, he doesn't bother to look and call me by my name. And it's not just him. Most people at St. Elizabeth's don't call me by my name because they're all equally lazy. So when I was there for like a solid month, I think, because I was in not ER, what's it called? My surgery went poorly, so I was in the
Inpatient.
hospital. Yeah. All the nurses called me by my legal name. So that's just what I had to deal with for like a solid month. So that's
So looking back, would you have wanted to speak up and kind of school them on that too? Because it sounds like now we've got to be prepared to teach these medical professionals social skills and some medical things.
yeah, now I'm starting to realize that it's just something we have to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to deal with the smallest things, and it's
Hey, but that's important. That's still something that's important. There's a reason it's on the chart, and that's respect
yeah, and
when it
it's
comes down
just
to it.
it's so rough, the things that other people have to deal with when what I have to deal with is so small in comparison.
No,
And it's
respect
funny,
for you from a medical professional is not small. Don't ever guilt yourself about that.
it's
You
funny,
deserve
I had this conversation with my psychiatrist once, and I think he said the same thing where he was like, don't say that, it's just a small, don't say it's small, it's still important. And then that's what he said. And then I looked at what he wrote on my chart, and he used the wrong name. And it's like, are you kidding me?
another one who walks the walk but don't talk the talk, huh? Or the other
Yep.
way around.
Yeah, no, I got you though.
Yeah.
All right, I got something. It says video recording an episode. My neurologist asked my wife to capture a video of a seizure. Absent, usually after a shower, and mine are nocturnal also. I'm actually pretty terrified to watch myself during a post-go. Anyone else in the same boat? Or what's your story if you've had this done and have regretted it or been grateful? I've seen a recording, but it was just my bedroom camera. I haven't got anyone to sit and take a video of me taking a seizure. I never thought of that. But yeah, when I have a seizure, people are usually like, I'm unaware, I'm on guard in case he falls. But pulling out a phone, you can't be too aware. You're gonna be like, drop the phone. Oh, he just fell. I thought he was just gonna be one of those unaware ones. But I guess some people are different.
I
Anybody
am
want anybody to record them?
I am unsure if my wife did or not. I'm like son tells me she did and showed it to my neurologist, but I experienced the clusters and I do not want to see myself. Like I was fully conscious for the clusters and no, I do not want to see myself. And I feel sorry for everyone like who has clusters, but not only that, I feel sorry for everyone like who's seen me go through seizures and stuff, and it's like now you get to see the other side of the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely induces guilt. So the one that was recorded for length of seizures at, closer to the beginning of the diagnosis or beginning of the surgeries, I asked daughter to delete that one. We got another one on the home camera, security camera, and I just saw myself kind of go rigid and go down behind the island in the kitchen. And that was just totally inducing guilt. Like, wow, my family just had to see that. And that's what got them rushing over here. So again, never saving the data, the visual seizures. I don't like it.
For some reason, I saved mine, and I actually took them off my computer hard drive and put it on a SD card. Not that I want to see it. Well, I don't know. For some reason, something told me just save it. I don't know why, so I saved it, and I have it. I haven't really looked at it too many times after the day or two after. The first few days, I was looking at it like, wow, and then I just never really paid attention to it anymore. I'm going to show my mom, but she's seen enough. So we'll move on then. Conscious seizure. Hi, I'm 17 years old and I have been diagnosed with epilepsy since being 18 months old. When I was younger, I had more seizures, but I was also taking medication for it. I believe I took clonazepam, Keppra, and 2 other I don't remember the names of. I tried a few medications, but it's like they didn't work and they just made me feel like a zombie, constantly tired, lazy, no schoolwork being done, can't focus, etc. So I've been off medication for around 6 years now. The main seizures I get are nocturnal and absent seizures. I don't always have nocturnal seizures, but some days I just feel completely off with sore muscles and badly bitten lip. Just assume I had a seizure during my sleep. Since this morning, I've been feeling unwell with a huge headache and decided to have a nap during the day. I remember at one point in my nap, I turned onto my back and suddenly had this feeling of zapping and tingling feeling from my arms going into my head continuously. And it's like whenever it would hit my head, I could hear ringing, and then it's like I tried to open my eyes, but I just couldn't even think. I was just blinking a lot, or my eyes were rolling back in my head, couldn't tell. I haven't experienced this before, but because I was conscious, but it's like couldn't move and I had no sense of time or anything. And after it finished, I turned onto my side and fell back asleep. Is this some sort of seizure? Because a while after it happened, I vaguely remembered what happened, and I didn't know it was possible to be conscious during a seizure, or Google said it was a focal seizure, but it doesn't mention the tingling arm into the head, feeling, ringing, eyes fluttering, etc. I remember the tingling and ringing, but I don't remember much about the eyes. I don't know if they were blinking, rolling back into my head, or what. But all I know is I couldn't open them, and now they hurt a lot. Conscious seizures. Anybody have conscious seizures?
No.
No, but that sounds awful.
I wouldn't say a conscious seizure. I guess I think they called it
Just
complex partial or something like that.
Yeah.
I had one to where I was, I guess when I have a seizure, like we usually do, it was a tonic-clonic, but my eyes were open. I could hear, I could fully make out what people are doing and saying, but my head is like looking whatever direction I'm looking. During the seizure, I can't move. I can feel myself gritting my teeth and just can't react. So I've been through that. I wouldn't say it was a conscious seizure because there was a point afterwards I was just like, I don't remember anything. But days later, it came to me like, you remember this? In bits and pieces, it came back. Nobody else have partial complex?
I don't think so. What are partial complexes again?
Like I said, I was kind of, I wouldn't say out of it. I guess I was just watching my seizure go down.
I don't know.
Yeah, they do kind of they do kind of confuse the definitions of these. I mean, complex partial, it looks like also goes by focal impaired awareness seizures. I don't know which is the newer or the older term, but it looks like, according to, a quick Google definition, characterized by impaired awareness. So like you don't feel maybe or see the whole thing, and maybe may involve repetitive movements or behavior. So I think that's the one where I'll start just like kind of messing with my fingers or having doing something like that with my lips. But those are the ones that I thought you're like not aware.
Yeah, I was not
Maybe there's
aware.
just different ones.
Yeah, I was labeled with partial complex seizures in '97, but I was never aware of anything. And even like, I can't even recall to what made me go into the seizure, or like sometimes I can't even remember coming out of it.
It's so crazy that it's like, I remember like when I fall over, I remember the falling over, hitting something, and then like I never essentially go out of it. I'm just like, what happened? What's going on? Why can't I move? I can feel my arm like hitting whatever my arm is hitting, and I can't stop it. And it's like you can still feel that pain from if you're hitting something. Like I said, I was hitting my elbow one time, and I was like hitting it over and over and over, and I can't stop it. It's kind of hurt my elbow. But yeah, it's like you can feel what you're going through, and it's not nice.
So maybe
Yeah,
impaired awareness is just like an easier term for them to use because you still can't communicate, you still can't really control. So maybe impaired awareness is why it's such like a broad term for so many different kinds of seizures.
Yeah, I don't know. My aware ones have been like, I can communicate, but I don't really know. Like, I can talk, but I don't really know how to communicate, if that makes sense. Like, I had one where I was like on the phone, but I couldn't, it was like on the phone, but I was trying to type something, but I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't think right. Like I just couldn't process to actually do it right. Like there was something that I couldn't, it was just like it wouldn't, my brain just wouldn't work. I don't know how to explain. Like it just
You explained when you said brain doesn't work. That was enough. That was all of it right there. The
no, a lot of that
doesn't work.
would make sense. I mean, before I was diagnosed, people would tell me that I stare off into space a lot, but I remember just going inside my head. That's what I would remember,
Yeah,
like
so it
being
was like
in
I would
another
be on the
universe.
phone and I would be talking to my wife and she would be like, yeah, can you just do whatever she wanted me to do, like look this up or call or whatever. And I would just be like, I can't, like I'm trying, but I can't, like that's what would happen.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, and he said he was on the phone with a recruiter, and he said he just went blank, and he said he got the message, and the recruiter was like, "Just call me back. Something weird happened. I think we got disconnected." And then he said he called the recruiter back, and the recruiter was telling him, something was weird that happened. You just stopped answering my questions, and then you just went blank, and I could hear you in the background, but you weren't answering my questions. And then he said, he told him, well, I had a seizure, so that's what happened. And the guy was like, well, we can't really take you if you're having seizures and stuff. So he did not get recruited.
Like, I'm curious to what extent, like, if they're like like small things, like if it's possible that there are things that aren't like full seizures, but like something, because lately I've been having problems where it's just like something small gets messed up, if that makes sense. Like, I was with my wife at the doctor recently, and we were trying to fill out, they gave us the form finally to apply for our disability parking form, and I just like got stressed out and wasn't sure about my social security number, and I I don't feel like that was like like it seems dramatic to say that for not being sure about my social security number was a seizure, but at the same time, it's like forgetting my social security number is clearly something with my brain. So, like, what was the explanation for that?
I just
Was
chalk
that
it
like
up to what to get used to. We all have memory problems once, seizures start happening, and you don't know if it's going to be childhood, like all the long-term stuff just wiped out at once, or if it might come back later. Some things can trigger stuff like that, memories to come back later, sense and, being in different places. But when it comes to things like social security number, something you've just known all your life, birthdays, dates, things like that, I really would just chalk that up to something to get used to. Don't sweat it. If there's anything else
I totally
accompanying that,
remember it now. It was just like a weird thing where like I just kept like flip-flopping. Like my social security number is
My dog is driving me crazy and I'm trying to get her happy. I couldn't sign my name once. And I think it was like that, Reese, where it was like I knew that I could. I knew what I had to write, but I just couldn't get it out of my brain and going to my hand. It was like it literally got stuck right in my head. And I could see the little fishies swimming in there, but they just didn't want to go. Okay,
it's
they
just
just
like I know my social security number.
right. And I honestly, Kate isn't completely wrong. Some of those things might go away. I mean, you recently had brain surgery, so you've got some healing going on. But I just call them, either my 404 errors or, excuse me while I'm experiencing technical difficulties. It's the best I can do, It's like glitch, just a little glitch. But I think for you right now, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, but you have to give yourself the space mentally to let those things heal and just say, okay, that was there, and just let it go. It's gone. Nothing bad happened. It was just there and it's gone. Because if you start dwelling on those things, that can change your hormones and literally affect the way you heal. And it's more important for you to heal physically right now. So don't worry about that mentally. I know it's frustrating, and I know it's hard, but coming from a fellow warrior of epilepsy, sometimes we just can't sweat the small stuff because I can't, and that's one of those things. The first few times it happened, and I can remember now, it doesn't happen to me all the time. So, but that one time I will never forget. I will never forget that. So that might be one of those for you where it's, yeah, it only happened a few times, but man, I felt it. So yeah, you felt it, but that might go away.
I'm just getting so frustrated. It's like, okay, my memory is gonna start falling apart, I can't recognize people's faces. That's a thing I've always struggled with. I now I'm deaf in one ear. My face is paralyzed. I just
Did they say
Grace,
that?
we can't tell you
temporary?
enough. Just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Focusing more on the positive of, the support system that you do have, the insurance that does cover, some things. Look forward to anything you can.
So
always a bright
these
side.
support, and what can we do to advocate for ourselves? I mean, what things can we do to, I don't know, reverse these negative effects? These what's good for the brain? What diet and exercise and activities to, uh, like I said, reverse or negate these things that we all don't like. I mean, I know we can't we can't fight these medications outside of not taking them, but can we take up hobbies or just get good clean exercise or what? Well, is anything gonna help us? I mean, any ideas?
With me, I can't say something's been working that I've taken for a week, but I started with these B12, and someone told me it helps with brain function, and I swear I haven't had a focal since I've started taking them. I can't say if those. I could say I'm just having a good week, but I'll let you know how that goes in a few weeks. If it's still doing all right, I could blame it on that in a few weeks.
I did look into the B vitamins, and the best vitamins you can take are the ones you eat, and that's like fish and oysters and salmon and citrus fruits. So those are good things to eat. You know, there's a whole list. You can look it up online, but
Yeah, I
And
got
I'm on a
gummies.
Mediterranean
but
diet,
that
which
that's
involves a lot of
vitamins are probably good too.
Good old
I got
Miss-
gummies.
Oh, hey, I've heard about B12. And I saw that video on the YouTube. Thanks again, Pookie, for the YouTube channel. I love it. But yeah, the B12, I haven't tried that yet. Now I'm going to, because I've heard so many people say, you know what, whatever it does, it's, I don't know, fixing the wires. I don't know. I know I was given magnesium. I was just given the wrong one. And I can't remember which magnesium. I think it's selenate or oxalate, but they gave me the wrong one. So when I got the right one, it really helped, because what happened a couple years ago, I had a seizure at the hospital, because I went there because I was having clusters and they ignored it. And I got discharged and had the seizure right outside and whacked my head on the brick wall. And I ended up with a vestibular concussion. So the concussion is literally in my ear space in that, and nothing was helping. I couldn't even get my head up off pillow because the vertigo was so bad. So they put me on magnesium, but that was the magnesium that a gastrointestinal doctor should have given, because if I wanted to have my colonoscopy, that's when I should have done it. It cleaned my body out in a way, but magnesium, I'm gonna have to look it up. There's a different formulation, a different type of magnesium that is better, is more digestible. I use magnesium gel on my skin all the time because I have arthritis, I have, all that fun stuff. So, and that works better than most things that they've given me. Plus, it also puts that magnesium in my system. But the B12, man, everybody's talking about B12. And I gotta try it. Just saying, I gotta try it now.
Yeah, when someone told me to take it, luckily when I looked for it on Instacart, they were like, buy one, get one free. So I was like, all right.
Hey.
First time buying them, and got one, get one free. It says take 2 a day, but I take 3 a day because I heard that our medication sucks some of the vitamins out of our body. So I take 3. Instead of one with dinner, one with breakfast, I take one midday, as I just did a few seconds ago.
I'm not sure that'll work because your body could only absorb so much. if
Right.
you
I was
take-
gonna
We'll
say,
see.
I wonder if what a nutritionist take would be on this, because if the pills are actually just stopping our body from absorbing it, maybe like a natural source, like the dietary sources. I mean, I know B12 is all the rage, and apparently it's in like all the food groups. There's meats, there's veggie, or there's dairy that provide B12, but will our body be able to absorb either one, whether it's natural or whether it's like pills?
Right.
Well, that's why the food is better. I mean, because I mean, supplements are excellent, yes, but I got clams, tuna, king crab, beef, fortified cereals, fortified soy milk, tofu, low-fat milk, cheese, Swiss cheese, and eggs. Those are the highest foods in B12.
Good to know.
No.
So if you like those foods, eggs are great too because they're high in also vitamin D, I think. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
go wrong.
Taylor, mom's got me wanting to try duck eggs now for sure.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
Oh.
my wife is an incredible crocheter. So my big idea is for her to teach me how to crochet, both so I can start getting my uh abilities with my hands back, because I'm having issues since my messed up surgery, and also so I can listen to more podcasts and have something to do with my hands while I listen to podcasts. So she's gonna teach me how to make granny squares sometime soon. I think we're gonna do it over Memorial Day weekend. And yeah, that's my big plan.
Sounds fun. I got some Memorial Day or Mother's Day puzzles that I'm gonna try to get some chill time and keep them covered up so nobody can just crumple them one of these times.
come to find
I
out, you
do.
have to have hobbies. You have to
Yeah.
have something that you want to do that keeps your mind going the way that you want it to go. You have to find hobbies. They absolutely help. Like wanting to do something helps. Like I want to do this and I'm going to do it. And it's fun. I'm interested in it. Not doing it because it makes me better. It makes my head feel better. Do it because something you want to do.
Yeah, taking care of yourself really does help others, help your loved ones too.
Were you going to say something, Twix?
I was thinking about getting back into art because I used to draw a lot and paint, but then I started having seizures. So I was afraid to like hold pencils and stuff. But
Understandable.
I'm not
Don't let it hold you back.
seizures, so
I change
Yeah,
hobbies
don't
so
hold back.
much. Like I have so much arts and crafts stuff that I use it more than my kids. Paints, all kinds of stuff. I forget that I have it sometimes, and I don't bring it out when they're here, and
yeah.
I end up using it more. So yeah, all kinds of stuff. Like I got a turntable because I want to do DJing. I did it one time and moved on to the next hobby, and I don't even know what that was. As of right now, this is the hobby. I enjoy sitting around. So
Man.
yeah. Next question. Had a seizure and an EEG, but it showed normal. A family friend of mine has told me to keep pushing. I had an EEG where I had an episode, but they said it was normal. A lot of brain activity, but nothing indicates the episodes was an epileptic seizure. My family friend's son started having seizures at 19, and he's autistic and nonverbal. He had an EEG and it showed normal, but she kept pushing and pushing and then got diagnosed with epilepsy. And now on epileptic medication and haven't had one since. Could this be possible, being epileptic but EEG normal? I've only had one so far, though, so I can't judge everyone.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You might not pick up the brain waves unless you've like just had a seizure or are having one currently. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I've had, I don't even know how many EEGs, and I've had several come back normal and several come back super fucked up. So, yeah.
Yeah, because of Pookie's assignment last week to look for our medicines and stuff, I was reading through my EEGs and I was reading that some of them were like really abnormal, even though they couldn't say what was like abnormal about it. Like some of them, like it's showing nothing on it. It's like why? And I was diagnosed when I was 14 though, so I don't know. Maybe equipment wasn't as good back then, or but I'm like, why was it abnormal?
Yeah, the 90s and the early 2000s weren't a good time for us to have epilepsy, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither were the 70s or the 60s. So yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
No.
But at least you got to know what psychedelics did for you. Or it's easier to find
Oh,
out
yeah.
anyway.
Well, it's funny because that was one of those things. It's like we had to do something. That was, and the cannabis, they knew that before they even legalized it. They knew that cannabis could be used for epilepsy. That was one of the only things that the government would admit that it could help with. So, but still, the EEGs haven't changed a whole lot since then, to be quite honest. We just have different types. And because the scalp EEGs are pretty much the same.
I hate the ambulatory ones.
Yeah. But like going into the EMU, that's the same. It's just a time frame. And it's the same electrodes, it's the same glue or paste. It's like they have to do something different for the electrodes to get like deeper brain activity. And I have mine are normal all the time. And unless I'm in the EMU, and those videos, by the way, yeah, I have seen those and they're scary, but it's undeniable. It's like, I definitely have epilepsy, but it's.
As someone with alcoholic parents, it infuriates me that it took this long for marijuana to become legal. And the fact that alcohol is the one that is legal when marijuana actually has uses is
That's
so
why.
infuriating to me.
Yeah. I mean, they've
That said, I had some kind of medication that's cannabis based when I was in the hospital, and I did not appreciate it.
No.
So, I mean, there's that. But
was it Marinol?
I don't remember because I have bad memory. It might have been. It was
they
something.
gave me Marinol years ago. I had cervical cancer and I had to have surgery. And of course, they want you to do the chemo. And I'm like, no. But I didn't want to be sick. And I knew what it would do. And I just didn't want to go through all that. And, we surgically removed everything. Why go through the chemo when I knew cannabis could do it for me? But my doctor said, okay, let me give you some Marinol and go in for this first infusion. We'll see how you do. And I decided to try the Marinol before I went for the chemo. I was so sick, I thought I had food poisoning. I'm like, forget it. And I went and packed a bowl. I'm like, no, I'm not touching that stuff. Whatever they thought they created, they can't beat Mother Nature, And that's why Epidiolex actually is extracted from hemp. It isn't a synthesized compound like Marinol. Marinol is, you may as well smoke Delta 8. You may as well go and smoke spice. It was the most disgusting experience. So yeah, you know, it's like, I don't know if that's what they gave you, but it made me sick. The headache, it felt like I got hit with a bat, and I hadn't even gone in for the chemo. So I'm like, no, if the stuff to make me feel better is going to make me this sick, I don't want to be that sick where feeling this bad feels better. You follow me?
I follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt sick and I felt high, and I did not like it.
Mm-mm.
I haven't had that yet. I've never said that I don't appreciate the THC, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to. Yeah, love some THC.
I don't remember, because again, my memory is shot, but something that I have makes it so that they said I should not be exposed to marijuana. I can't remember what it is because I have a million different disorders, but one of them, they said, should not be exposed to marijuana. So
Sorry to hear that.
I know people that suffer from schizophrenia, we don't recommend any THC at all. The C profile, CBD, CBN, but never, ever, ever THC for somebody with schizophrenia. There's definitely something that happens. My nephew, although I think I think he's more traumatized than schizophrenic, but he, you know, we as teenagers, we did what we did when we were teenagers, right? Some of us, or in college, you know, most of us tried weed. He was a teenager and he was smoking more than I was, and I use it medicinally. So, and he really messed up his head. And I have to say though, you know, I know the only condition that we've been told and that our clinic studies have shown is schizophrenia. And it's just something that the way the cannabinoids bind in the brain, whatever it does, it just can throw you. Or just that emotional, you know, if you get a bit of paranoia and you have schizophrenia, that can send you over on the deep end. And, you know, we don't want that. But, you know, I don't know. I know some medications I'm not supposed to use Onfi. There are a few medications, Fycompa. It doesn't always agree with cannabis, but for the most part, we're pretty good. And, you know, one of my doctors was one of the leading doctors in New York State that studied cannabis and epilepsy. So, you know, I didn't mind being his guinea pig. I'm like, yeah, I actually taught him stuff. He didn't even know about FECO, you know, RSO. He didn't even know about it until he met me. And I'm like, well, if you want to study cannabis here, let's talk. But fascinating in, you know, some of the things you do want to be careful, you know, but those normal EEGs, man, I get those all the time. And that same doctor, he made me just smoke the way I always do, take my dosage the way I always do when I was on one of those ambulatory EEGs. And he saw that pattern that indicates those deep brain seizures. It just like flattened out. And he said, I think we know how we can do this. And then I moved away, you know, and it's like, all right, I'm ready to go back home to him, you know, but we do have to be careful with cannabis. And the thing too, what really gets me is sometimes, you know, like this individual posted, you know, it's like, oh, I had a normal EEG. And does that mean I'm okay? Well, it depends on the doctor, and what happens next.